Welcome to the Australian Fishing Championships. We're taking the opportunity this year to catch up with the winning teams and look in depth at the techniques they're using, with the ultimate aim of helping you to catch more fish the next time you go out on the water. Firstly, we're catching up with Team BCF, Chris Hickson and Tristan Taylor. Guys, I noticed on the water you used a tandem approach, hard-bodied lures and soft plastics. Chris, explain to the people at home exactly what the soft plastic lure is and how you were using it.
Well, Steve, we're using a fairly basic jig head rig soft plastic combo this weekend, made up of two parts, the jig head and the soft plastic itself. The technique with these, simple to rig, like a worm, and the key is to get it as straight as possible. That way it looks a lot more natural coming down. Slide the jig head in till it's just at the point between the eyes of the plastic. Thread it on just like a worm so the hook comes out and so it's nice and straight. Now, Chris, how do you give it the action that the Bream like? Yeah, the technique that I like to use with these is to pick the spot you want to cast the soft plastic, get it as close to the structure as you can, and let it sink to the bottom and leave it for a few seconds. I tend to find that the fish swim towards that plastic and will eyeball it for quite a while, look at it and sort of make a decision on whether they want to eat it or not. After a couple of seconds, give it a couple of hops off the bottom so it looks like a shrimp or a crab trying to flee away from that fish, and often that is what triggers them to actually eat the soft plastic. We've heard the basic soft plastic technique, but Chris didn't get to be the best in the country just by a basic technique. What were the specifics that won you that first match? In the first match, the fish were quite inactive. It was a really calm day and there was a distinct lack of current. I think the key to it was getting the soft plastic in as close as possible to the structure and holding it there so it was in the strike zone for as long as possible. That strike zone we were looking for was quite often the shady side of an oyster rack or the lee side of a pole out of the current where a fish is sitting there resting or waiting for food to come to it. Of course, Tristan Taylor caught the other two fish in BCF's limit in that first match. And Tristan, you used a hard body lure. Explain to us what it is.
Sure, Steve. A hard body is basically a lure designed out of a hard plastic. It's got a bib on it, which will actually impart the action to the lure. You can also add a few little jerks and pauses if you like, but by and large, it's just something that you can throw out, wind back, and it'll actually look like a fleeing bait fish. What we were doing in this round was casting as close to the structure as possible and actually just slowly winding it back at a very even pace.
So what do you do when the Bream actually hits the lure?
What we found was if we kept moving that lure, the fish would come back a bit more aggressively and that's when they'd grab it and you'd actually hook up on the fish. What if you missed a hit? Do you twitch it? Do you keep winding it? What happens then? On any given day, that can vary, but what we found in this round was if we kept winding it, they'd actually come back. They might hit it a couple of times, and usually before it actually exited from that rack, we'd actually get them crunching the hooks. Thanks for those tips, Tristo. Now, let's go to some of the highlights of that exciting first round.
Forster is regarded as a world-class bream fishing arena and every year attracts anglers and fishing events in ever-increasing numbers. Clean water and oyster racks are an irresistible magnet to thousands of yellowfin bream. This perfect mix of fish-friendly elements is why AFC chose this location to stage the Series 9 Bream rounds. But as you'll see, its popularity can be a curse. Team BCF's Chris Hickson and Tristan Taylor took the first match points in AFC 9 by adapting their strategy, skill and tackle choices to the tough conditions. This popular arena has been fished by a huge local boat competition for 2 days prior to the AFC anglers arriving. With no time to recover, the fish were still spooked and the system essentially had shut down.
Size? Yeah, they don't have to be big, but they've got to be bigger than that.
The area recovered with bigger fish caught through the following rounds of AFC 9. To make it even tougher, Match 1 commenced at the top of the tide, unanimously regarded by experts as being one of the toughest times to get a bite. As we heard, BCF deployed 2 styles of fishing to maximise their chances of filling a bag. Chris Hickson, regarded as one of the most accurate casters in the business, threw lures close to structure and let his soft plastic drop under the racks to entice the waiting fish to strike. Accurate casting at targets close to the boat creates more chance of landing the bream in tight terrain. The suicide cast Tristan uses across multiple oyster racks is the hook 'em and hope approach. It works as many times as it doesn't. His hard body lures bounce across the tops of the structure, trying not to get snagged. Once the fish is on, the angler must wind like fury to keep the fish up so it won't dive to the racks and break you off.
Maybe.
If you're looking for finesse fishing, you won't find it here. Team Hobie played a strategic long shot by travelling upriver to fish natural banks in a hope to change their luck. Travelling time was wagered against valuable fishing time in their quest of getting a winning bag. It could have just as easily been the master stroke that won them the match. This first round was a hard day at the office. Team BCF used all their skills and local knowledge to get their modest bag and win the round.
Yes.
You managed your full limit of 5 fish for 1.65 kilos. You guys win the match. Well done.
After the break, Team Aeroguard's Russell Babicule and Warren Carter take us through the techniques they used to beat Team Hobie in round 2.